Hi there, welcome into my channel. My name is Laurel with the Curated Caravan, and I am here today to do something a little bit different. I'm going on vacation next week. It is finally here, and so I haven't done any sourcing this week, and I've tried to kind of keep it low key because I don't want to get sick before I go on vacation. So I thought, what can I post about, or what can I do a video about that is maybe beneficial for somebody else? So I thought, what tips would I like as a brand new reseller of things that I need to go out and buy, or what do I need to start my business, or what do I need if I just want to see if I want to start this business. So I've gathered a few of the things that I think are essential or close to essential for starting your reselling business. So that's what this video is going to be about. So if you're already an established reseller, this will probably be a little boring for you. You might want to skip to the end, and I've got my top 10 sales of July. July ended up actually being a pretty good month for me as far as monetarily. I don't think I sold as many items, but I did sell some bigger things, mostly because of that painting that I sold and a couple of needle points that I sold also. But anyway, so stick around or skip to the end if you're interested in what my top 10 sales were for July. But for now, let's say you are interested in starting a reselling business. For me, my best advice would be start on Poshmark. Poshmark is definitely the easiest platform to sell on, and it requires the least amount of setup. So let's do a step-by-step. You want to sell something on Poshmark. Poshmark, like I've said, is the easiest one to use when you're just starting out. So you're going to find your item, whether it's from your closet, whether you found it thrifting or at a retail store and you think you can make some money on it. You're going to take that item. If it's from your house, you're going to make sure it's clean. So you might want to use a lint swipey thing or a lint roller. These are always good to have around. Make sure your item is clean, doesn't have holes, that kind of stuff that you'll find out later, or the buyer will find out later when they get it in the mail. Make sure that it's good. And then if you are like me, which not everybody does this, but I have a notebook where I write down all the specifics of everything that comes in. So I will write down how much I paid, I write down what it is, a description, the materials tag, and at that point I will measure everything. So I measure armpits, I measure length, anything else that might be a little bit different on it. You're going to write those measurements down. It is good. I think it's good to start out from the beginning, just getting into the practice of keeping good records. So I'll write that down. I will weigh it with my handy postal, what is this called? Scale, my scale that I got on Amazon. I'm going to link everything below on Amazon where you can pick those up. This is not a necessity if you are selling on Poshmark because everything goes priority mail. So as long as it is under 5 pounds, you're good. So if you're selling clothes and you're only selling on Poshmark, that might be something that you can hold off on getting, would be a scale. But they're not that expensive and it wouldn't hurt. Next, you're going to get your item ready to be photographed. So it might need steaming. I love my steamer. It is a stand-up. Who makes it? I don't remember who makes it. I know Jiffy is supposed to be the best. I haven't bought a Jiffy yet because mine works totally fine. I think I got it at like a discount seller place. But it stands up. It's got the hanger on the top so that you can just put your clothes on there and use the steamer. But be careful, I did Can you see my injury? I got steamed this week. Anyway, they are very hot and you don't want a steam scar. So you're gonna want to get it all ready. I don't know if you have a blank wall, that is always good with good lighting. So you don't have to do a lot of photo editing. I tend to brighten a lot of my photos up because it doesn't ever seem to be quite bright enough. And half the time I'm just super lazy and I do not want to get out all the big lights. So I use PicTap Go, and I use Photo Room, just the free version of Photo Room, I believe is what I use. But I'll use one of those too just to brighten things up. And actually Poshmark now, is it Poshmark or maybe it's Flip? Because I also use Flip. Flip is good with you can lighten things up on there. Anyway, I got sidetracked. We'll take your photos. So you can I use my phone. It's an iPhone 13. Does that sound right? Anyway, it's got a great camera. Works just fine for me. I will use that for my photos. You're going to want to take front, back, labels, your brand label, and then your care labels. Those are always good to have. Close-ups on anything that might be a little bit different. And I don't know if I mentioned before, I like to measure armpit to armpit and then length. And then if there's anything else that's different on there. So you photographed, you've measured. Then you're going to load your photos onto the Poshmark site. Very easy to do. You can just do it from your phone if you want to. I use a laptop for mine, but because I do use a cross-lister, and I cross-list to eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari just all at the same time, just because I just want to do it all at once. But prior to that, or sometimes I will do it at the same time that I'm doing my listing. I will do some research into what things are selling for, looking up comps, seeing what's going to be a competitive price for my item, so that when you're doing your listing, you can put a price on there where you're going to get that sold. Because when I started out, for sure, I held on to things way longer, pricing's way higher than I should have. I'm still working on that, not to be wanting to get too much out of an item that really isn't worth it. If it's not selling, it's not worth what you have on it. So do your price research. You've weighed it, and that's it. You're set. Now Poshmark is going to take a little more work after you've listed it, because Poshmark rewards sharing. So, if you've only got a few items, you can share those multiple times a day, and it's not a big deal. When you get to being bigger, I have almost 2,000 items, so I don't share those manually. I pay for another closet mate is what I use. It's $9.99, and I just set it off. I actually have an extra old phone that I use just for sharing. So I just have that set up, and I'll just hit share, and it will share, and it'll keep it open. I don't have to use my real phone to do that. Anyway, I hope I'm not being too confusing. If you have any questions about anything that I'm talking about, just ask it in the comments. I try to answer everybody's questions. Okay, so you got to share those items if you're selling on Poshmark. Otherwise, they're just going to sit there and they're not going to get looked at. And you have to, keep an eye on it. I've had people before that say, oh, I have this on Poshmark and it's not getting, it hasn't sold yet. You have to do some things. You can't. eBay, on the other hand, pretty much you can just sit there, list it, and it just sits there, because there's nothing that you do after the fact. But we're just with Poshmark right now. So let's say you sold your item. So you get the notification that your item has sold, or you get the notification, more than likely, that somebody has sent you an offer. You want to send out offers to the people that like your items. There's much more of a chance that you're going to make a sale when you make offers to people. Generally, at least 20%. Most people want 30%. So you have to factor that in also when you're pricing your items. So you might price it 20 to 30% higher than what you actually want to get paid for it, because you got to remember that people are going to be sending you offers. You are going to be sending out offers. Next up, okay, so you've sold it. Now we need to mail it. So with Poshmark, the great thing about Poshmark when you are first starting out is you can get all of your supplies for free. So you don't need any fancy type of mailers. You can just order them from USPS, or you might have a nice post office that will give you some for free. Usually, if you just need a couple, they're fine with that. But otherwise, they come in packets of 10, I believe, from USPS. They will send them directly to your house, and they don't cost anything. And these are the Tyvek mailers. These are the best. You can get a lot in these mailers. You can really stuff it full, and they're very heavy duty. You might want to put a little bit of extra tape if it's something that's really full, but otherwise these are great. You can fold them, and I like to tape the edges so they don't get stuck in the postal stuff. But these are great just for general clothing items. These are the way to go. No money to you. Next up, if you are selling shoes on Poshmark, the shoe box from USPS is the way to go. And these, ship for free with what the buyer is paying on Poshmark. This is called the shoe box. So if you go to the USPS site, the measurements are 7.5 by 5 1/8 by 14 3/8. And come in maybe boxes of 15, something like that. Usually my post office doesn't stock these, so you have to order these special. Now, how you send your item is totally up to you. Some people use a clear poly bag inside their Tyvek. Some people don't use anything inside the Tyvek. I use tissue paper in my packages, so I will wrap my item up in the tissue paper. And I like to send a little note. It is nice to send a thank you note. I know I like getting one. You can use whatever you want, just a piece of paper. I will buy craft paper at Joann's whenever it's clearanced. And I have a paper cutter. What is this called? It's got a different name. A paper stamp? Not a paper stamp. Paper punch. I'll use a paper punch. Paper punch in the shape of a tag. And so I'll do a variety of different designs of different papers. Like a floral for girls or boys, or just, it just keeps it fun for me. I like variety. I'll put a little thank you note on there, slip it in there, tissue paper, and that is that. You might want to secure it with some tape at the end, and then you need to print your label. So when you're starting out, as long as you have a printer, you're set. You just print. They mail you, email you, or you get it from the Poshmark site. The printer, the label. You can send that to your printer, print it out on a regular sheet of paper, cut it out, fold it up, whatever you want to do, and tape it on to your package. Now, if you want to get a step up from there, but you don't want to go totally step up, you can get the sticky half sheets of labels, and then you just print it out on your printer, and then you just stick that on. You don't have to use the tape. And then from there, you can get a Rollo or a Dymo, which is a thermal printer, which means you don't ever have to get ink again for your labels, which I love. It took me forever to get a thermal printer, but they are so fast. I love my thermal printer. The next one, it will definitely be wireless because it is wired, so I have to set it up every time. But still, they crank right out, and you don't have to worry about ink. So that's it. So you've got your sticker on there, and then you just take it down to your post office, or if you have delivery at your door, which I do not, and then you're set. So that is Poshmark. So there's a few different things. Mercari is pretty much the same. The only thing different with Mercari is depending on what type of shipping you have set up, you will probably need to buy mailers. So I like to, anything that I order, I will save the mailers. You can recycle those. That's a great thing to do. I have friends that will give me boxes, different things like that you can use. Or you can order cute little poly mailers. Might eat up some of your profits if you do that. I keep a small variety of these on hand from You Pack and Ship because I don't sell that much on Mercari. So every once in a while, doesn't hurt to sell those. I mean, to buy some of those just for that. What else haven't we talked about? We haven't talked about little things like if you want to step it up and if you're doing any kind of, if your items need a little bit of help, you might need a sweater shaver. I also like sweater combs. These are great for like a chunkier item. I love this comb. Got it on eBay. I'm gonna link all that stuff below. Good tape. Usually dollar store tape is great. I used to use just dollar store tape. Now I buy in bulk, but not all tape is created the same. I just ordered, the last time I ordered just a generic tape. That stuff was horrible. You had to use 2 hands to even stretch it. It was the worst. Anyway, so I have a whole thing of it just to go in the trash. I like these. These are great. They are individually wrapped, but I just put them in my dispenser and they are good to go when I use that for when I'm doing my tissue paper for my wrapping my packages. So if you are selling on eBay, I love eBay. eBay's got a lot of traffic, so it's a nice step up, and it is not that complicated. The most complicated thing about eBay is weight and shipping. So you are definitely, if you're selling on eBay, you definitely want the postal scale. That's going to be your number one purchase. I think these are like $25, something like that. Battery operated. So you're gonna have to weigh everything that you're shipping, because like I do calculated shipping, so I'm not out anything. A lot of people do a flat rate shipping just to make it easy. I like calculated. You're just paying whatever it actually costs is what the buyer is paying. And that, if you're selling on eBay, you're also going to need your own poly mailers. If you graduate up to a store, I have I think the 3rd tier store. I can't remember how many items I can list, but a benefit of that is that every quarter they give you $50 to spend on shipping supplies. So that usually keeps me set up as far as poly mailers, tape, and tissue paper for the year. So, I will order the eBay branded poly mailers. I will order eBay branded tissue paper, and then I will order, I've had this eBay tape. It came in this huge package. I've had this for years. Tape gun, I love a tape gun. If you're sending boxes of anything, it just makes it so much easier than cutting, and it's great. So get a tape gun if you're at that level. Yes, but you might have to be paying for your poly mailers when you're starting out on eBay. Like I said, I use You Pack and Ship. I think you can also get them on Amazon, just a plain poly bag. And tissue paper also, I get the eBay stuff for my eBay sales. Then I also buy just the white tissue paper in bulk usually on Amazon. But when I started out, I would just get it from the dollar store. It's cheap. You get quite a bit there. Tape, tissue paper. They've got bubble mailers there at the dollar store also. So that is that. I think I've covered everything. So with eBay, it's a lot more detailed in your listing process. You're gonna need to know a lot more specifics about your items. This is also my necessity, as a large iced tea from McDonald's, always has been. And I'm trying to save money, so it's $1.50. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, eBay. it's going to have a lot more specifics to fill out, but you don't have to fill them all out, just the general ones. And you're going to want to weigh your item, and you're going to give yourself room for your packaging. So if it's going to need to go in a box with a lot of padding around it or something like that, then you're going to want to, if you possibly can, weigh it in the box with the amount of stuff that's going to be going with it so that you're accurate. Because otherwise you will be paying for the overages on your shipping. I think, okay, so eBay, same kind of deal though. Once it's, one thing with eBay, you do not have to share. Once it's listed, you really don't have to even think about it. You don't have to think about, except for answering messages that you might get, or now they have the thing where you can offer people discounts. So that's really all you have to worry about with eBay, but it's kind of like set it and go. It's that in that way, it's very easy. I do relist my items when they go off once a month so that they show up as a new listing and not as a relist. So that's another little tip. And I think I've covered, I don't know, I might have covered everything. I might have skipped a whole section that I've forgotten about. But again, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and I'll try to answer what you've got. So for the end of this video, I just wanted to do a breakdown of my July top 10 sales. Number one was the oil painting that I bought. I might have had that, had it sold in my last video? I do not remember. I paid $80 for it and it sold for $350. I didn't know if I was gonna get that. I actually wanted twice that, but you know what? I'm glad it sold, and it sold for more than I paid, so that was good. I had a needlepoint that I did. It's been sitting around here for years, and decided finally I'm not gonna do anything with this. So I sold it for $150.71. So that just took my time. I'm just a person that needs to be doing something, like, you know, in the evening when I'm watching TV. I don't just ever, if I'm not listing and watching TV, I'm doing like a needlepoint or something with my hands. So anyway, so I sell those, you know, occasionally. Next up was a vintage bag that I got at a thrift store for $7.99. It didn't have any branding on it, so I thought, I didn't really know if it was gonna sell at all, but it did sell for $54.84. And I paid $7.99 if I didn't say that already. Next up was I'm totally out of order. First two were right, number 3 is wrong. Number 3 was some restoration hardware shams, pillow shams that I got at the bins for $9.53, and they sold for $91.66. So great sale, and I think those have been there long enough that they're not gonna return them, because I think they sold on eBay. That's one thing with eBay that you have to worry about is returns. You are gonna get returns on eBay that you don't get on Poshmark, because people do return things for fit. It's just, you know, it's just gonna happen. You have to just get over it. And next up, number 4 was another needlepoint that I have had forever. Oh yeah, the first one was one that's kind of a recent one. It's one with lots of beads and stuff. I don't make any of the needlepoint for myself. I don't keep any of my needlepoint, but I like to sell it because I like, you know, like I said, I liked it for the work. So this one sold for $63.96. That was number 4. Number 5 was a Lululemon yoga mat that I got at a garage sale for $5, and it sold for $60 very quickly. So that was a great pickup. Number 6 was that vintage bag that I was talking about. So that one sold for $54.84. Number 7 was a Bryn Walker corduroy jacket. So even here in the middle of summer, people are still buying jackets. I think somebody bought a sweater today that is going out tomorrow. That one sold for $50.24. I paid $4 at a thrift store. Number 8 was Leslie Evers is the brand. I've had a couple of her things. They are very high retail. It sold for $48.65 and I paid $5.50 at a thrift store. Number 9 was a Rebecca Minkoff jacket. It was faux leather quilted. I bought that at TJ Maxx for $8 and it sold for $48. The retail was pretty high on that. Seems like it was over $300, but it was bulky and I kind of just wanted it out. I love getting rid of the big stuff. And number 10 was a pair of Jason Wu faux leather pants that I got at TJ Maxx for $4 and they sold for $47. So a few retail arbitrage, a few crafty things, and then a few thrift store things. So that's why you really have to do a variety of things if you want to have a bunch of sales. So it wasn't all thrift store, wasn't all retail, and then it's nice to throw in a few little crafty things in there too. So that's it for July. August is doing okay, but of course I'm going on vacation, and when you are self-employed, you do not get paid for vacation. So I'm having to put everything, starting on Saturday, everything will be on vacation mode, and we'll just have to make up for it when I get back. So I won't see you guys until the end of August, and hopefully I will have a nice vacation, and I will see you on the other side. So thanks for joining me. Please like and subscribe. I'm getting really close to those numbers for being monetized. So thank you all that have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, why not? It's free and, doesn't cost anything. Why not? I just need, I think, like 25 more. So thank you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.